So good morning, John Pullen with DEA and the Rocky Mountain Division. We're here on the scene of an underground nightclub where over 300 federal law enforcement, along with our local partners from El Paso County and Colorado Springs PD, executed an enforcement operation this morning. It's a drug investigation. We seized quite a number of guns and took a number of people into custody. I think what I'd like for people to know as a result of this operation is that Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer community today.
Jonathan, give us some perspective here. 300 law enforcement officers. What brought about this kind of requirement, this kind of need to be here with that show of force?
So this is an underground illegal nightclub, okay? And what was happening inside was significant drug trafficking, prostitution, crimes of violence. We seized a number of guns in there. We had active duty service members who were running security at the club and involved in some of these crimes. And in fact, we had over 100 illegal aliens inside as well, and those over 100 illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE.
Active duty service members helping as security here. Can you elaborate on that at all?
So it's an ongoing investigation, but we had over a dozen active duty service members in the club tonight, either as patrons or working as armed security.
How many of those were detained and what are they facing right now?
So Army CID was one of our partners out here, and they're going to work with us on what the next steps for those active duty service members looks like.
You mentioned that this is a drug trafficking operation. Can you elaborate on any drugs you found, the amount, any charges you anticipate that could come out of tonight?
So as you may suspect, when the cops showed up at the door, most of the drugs hit the floor. And we did find cocaine. It looks like some pink cocaine or the Tusi. And there was a little bit of other drugs, but we haven't had time to test everything. But there were dozens of small packages of drugs that they've recovered so far that I've personally seen.
How we got tipped off to this location?
This has been a long-term investigation by DEA and a number of our federal partners. And so we've been working on this underground nightclub for a number of months, doing undercover, surveillance, a lot of other work to identify what's going on here. And again, you know, months-long information about drug trafficking and prostitution happening inside.
So you said there were 300 federal law enforcement. How many people were actually inside of this underground nightclub?
We estimate over 200 people were inside the nightclub when we came here tonight, and so that's why we needed such a large force. You know, anytime you're dealing with that many people, we want to do it safely, and that's what we did.
Because of the nature of the nightclub, are all of them facing charges? Everyone inside?
No, they're not. A lot of people were turned away. As I said, over 100 went into ICE custody. A few people went on state arrest warrants. They had outstanding warrants, and we actually have a few other operations pending right now across the city. We're waiting to determine if there'll be other arrests from those.
Did you guys face any immediate threats going in, or was everything just a smooth operation going in and out, making sure everything was taken care of?
Anytime there's 200 people, there's going to be a little bit of concern about safety, but overall it was a safe operation.
Was TDA present here?
In our investigation, we have noticed TDA, MS-13, and I believe Hell's Angels in this club. I don't have the information about whether those members were there tonight, but we're still working through a lot of that because we have so many people in custody. We're working through a lot of the information about who's who.
Jonathan, after the raid in Adams County back in January, you received criticism because you didn't have arrests. You talked about the cops went in, the drugs went to the ground. Are you expecting to be criticized here, and how do you address those critics now?
So DEA is going to continue to work to keep our community safe, no matter what the criticism is, right? We are not going to accept drug trafficking and prostitution in our cities, and so absolutely Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer city this Sunday morning.
Can you talk to us about the local assistance and, you know, how that all played out?
Absolutely. We had over 10 federal agencies in support of this operation, but we also had Colorado Springs PD and El Paso County Sheriff's Office supporting us.
2 more questions.
Obviously, Tony mentioned, too, the one in Adams County. That also involved quite a bit of people who were here illegally. What do you say to anyone's concern or vantage point that these look like immigration operations happening under DEA operations?
these crimes go hand in hand, right? When we find drug trafficking and prostitution, unfortunately, we're finding a lot of illegal aliens. 200 people in this club, a lot of drug trafficking happened, weapons, prostitution, over half the people inside were illegals.
Jonathan, you talked about the investigation is ongoing, but talk to us about the significance of active duty military being investigated for drug-related crimes at this location.
Yeah, it's obviously concerning to have active duty military involved. We're working with our partners at Army CID on that piece. Obviously, where we are here in the Springs, there's a lot of military bases here, so it's not necessarily surprising, but we're going to take that very seriously.
What's the message?
The message is we're not going to stand for this criminality in our city.
Real quick, can you confirm if those active duty were related to Fort Carson?
I cannot.
How proud of your team are you?
That's all, folks, for the questions. Just wrapping up.
Just the last thing I'll say is appreciate all you guys coming out here, and we just want to give a big thank you to the 10 federal agencies and El Paso County Sheriff's Office and Colorado Springs Police Department for sending all these officers out here to make us have a successful operation tonight. Thank you.